Hello, hello, welcome, and thank you for tuning in with HerSide. I'm Paulette Maxwell, and this is our co-host, Melissa Reed. And we have a very special guest with us today who is both talented and beautiful. You may recognize her from Love and Hip Hop, Tyler Perry's The Oval, and one of her upcoming more recent projects as a star role in the Peacock hit film, The Comeback, where she played Taye Diggs' beautiful love interest, Miss April Jones. We are super thankful that you're here with us today because we're talking about healing going into the new year, and it couldn't be more perfect to have you here because we know that you've been on this healing journey. And so we just really want to talk to you a little bit of what this process has been. We know that in the midst of this journey that you've even created your own podcast, Wounds in the Way. And of course, we'll have you elaborate on that a little bit more. But we know that the intent of Wounds in the Way is to help deal with past traumas to avoid taking these wounds into future relationships. Mm-hmm. So that's super powerful. And I think it's amazing that you've done something like that. You've touched on something like that through your own struggles, through your own process. So let's get started.
I'm excited, actually. I know we've had the privilege of working together for a while. So I want to know, and I know that a lot of other people need to know, the concept of healing, the journey. So we're going into 2024. Mm-hmm. We need to be able to have more of a mindset of healing all those past traumas before we're taking that into our 2024, right? The blessings that are able to come. You've already done this journey, April, and this year is really different. Like you're in a totally different space. What is it that this time has changed? Like this is so much more permanent. It's a different change about you in this healing journey.
Obviously I feel like, I just turned 37. I just had a birthday. So I'm getting older. I'm becoming
that old.
I'm becoming a lot more wise. I think, motherhood is obviously changing me. I had a really big loss this year with my father, who passed away. And I think that I've submitted myself. I've always had a relationship with God, but I think that I've turned over that leaf of just saying, I cannot do this alone anymore. Like, God, I need you to kind of guide my footsteps, and I kind of relinquished that control. And so I feel like in doing so, it's allowed me to kind of sit and be a little bit more soft and allow myself to really experience the journey that I'm supposed to experience, and be more open and receptive to receiving what it is that God is trying to place inside of me and in my life. And I think that I'm more open. I'm more open to being like, okay, whatever it is that you want from me, I don't have to fight this anymore. I don't have to fight people. I don't have to fight things. I can just say, I'm here, use me as a vessel. And it's transformative on the inside coming out. So I think that's kind of what people are experiencing. The calmness in me now these days are just like, I don't have a fight. Like I don't have a fight in me. It's like,
and it's real. There really is a peace.
Yeah. What I can appreciate about you is that you've been so transparent about your struggle, about your journey. And you've also been very open about your process and how you've dealt with your different struggles.
Like you're not going towards that stuff anymore. Towards
like, no. And don't get it twisted. My dad just died not too long ago, and it was something that I turn to here and there, but even that, I'm in a space where it's like it's not what I don't want to go to that. Like I need to really sit in the loss and really feel the feelings and go through them. Because for me, my saying is the only way out is through. And so I know that I have to just go through these emotions and go through the feelings to come out on the other side. But I think that I think we all have vices. Alcohol was and has been something for me that has allowed me to escape the reality of my life at times, or issues that were really painful, so it'd be my thing where it's like, that's my best friend. So let me go ahead and have a little sip, you know what I mean? but that's just exactly what it was. It was me escaping. And I think that you can't really heal. The only way to be on this healing journey is to really deal with the things that are bothering, you know, your life or that are not healthy for you. You really have to sit in it.
Like you said, to sit in your
feelings. And so
I'm surprised you don't have that tattoo. The only
sit
way,
in it?
No, well, the only way. Yeah, that too. Sit in it. No, the only way. Would you say the
only way out is through?
Yeah,
I know, that's good. But it was something that I definitely turned to. And, you know, I try to obviously have my better vices, which is like my therapy and, you know, talking about it, because I definitely need to just like release it. But it's something for me now at this point in this stage of my life where I'm like, no, April, you want to be a better person. Okay. Deal with your issues. It's okay. It's okay that things didn't really pan out the way that you saw, or that, you know, things have turned out to be, you know, what you wouldn't have wished them to be. But at the end of the day, we still have control to change the narrative.
Amen.
And so I'm at a point now where it's about me changing. If I want change, the only way to do it is to just do it. And that's where I'm at.
Do you feel like that change starts with a mindset? Do you feel like it's an environment change? Do you feel like it's people change?
I think it's all of it.
Okay.
And I think that's why this year has been the best year, is because I've let go of certain friendships that were not serving me.
Yeah, that's good.
Things that, and I love these people, but things that were not adding value to my life, that were not pouring into me. I'm a person who, this has been my gift and curse. Like, I pour into a lot of people. Like, people plug into me all the time. I have that sort of energy. And for me, what I've realized, I'm like, okay, me giving this is just a complete depletion on my part. And I cannot be depleted, because I have children that I have to give that energy to first and foremost, let alone myself to be able to give it to my kids. So I got to a point where I'm like, listen, love y'all, but it's not beneficial for me. I'm not the girl that wants to go to the parties like that anymore. I'm not the girl who wants to sit and be escaping all the day, all day. And that's just not where I'm at anymore. You know, like, I'm about being in nature and like traveling and like experiencing culture and you know, the things that are going to replenish my spirit.
With good energy.
With good, and people who actually support and pour into me, just not taking. I need that. So I think it is environmental. I think it is about changing the friends that you're around, changing the things that you're doing, your habits, all of those things.
That's powerful. I heard something where it was said that someone that could be your best friend or be good for you in person may not be good for you spiritually. So there could be someone that is great for you physically, but spiritually a complete demise to you.
What do you mean by physically?
So meaning like, you know, they're your best friend.
You hang out,
like, you hang out with them. You could talk to them if you have issues, problems. Yes, but spiritually, they could be no good for you. Spiritually, it could be pulling you down. And so like what April was saying, it's just a matter of sitting and analyzing all of these different components in your life to say, okay, this may make me feel good physically. This may be good for me physically, right? But how is this helping, building, or pulling me down spiritually? Because the spirit first, that's what we need to focus on, our spirit man first. And if we can focus on building that up, then it will completely, you know, change everything else around us.
True.
I know your grandmother was a huge component in laying that foundation of God in your life, 100%. Right? And you went through a journey where you kind of got away from that. But what has allowed you to come back to that? And with your coming back, what is it that has drawn you more to the church, more to Christ, more to wanting to be more mindful and aware spiritually?
Well, I don't feel like I ever really strayed away. Like, I always have had a relationship with God. Maybe I strayed away from the church. But I never strayed away, like, spiritually. Like, my faith has always there. Yeah, my grandmother had us in church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, literally. Like, that was it. And as a kid, you know, when you're a kid, it's just like, grandma, like, oh my goodness. But you don't even recognize that, like, as you get older, to me, it was always what I always naturally, innately turned back to. And I was like, thank God. Right? Yeah, like thank God for my grandmother. For real, thank God for my grandmother, because anytime I was going through anything, the person that I would call on, or even in my greatest moments in life, the person that I would thank would be God. You know what I mean? He was like my go-to. And it's been that way my entire life. But again, I did stray away from the church in the place of worship. And I think that, you know, going through different transitions recently this year in 2023, I was like, okay, it was like a calling on my soul. It was like, it was a necessity.
Right. What was that turning point? What was that? Was it something that like happened? Was it a hit? Was it like, let's I mean, tell the truth. Tell the truth. This is what we do here. What was it that like hit and shook you up? It was just like, you know what? I got to get back. What gave you that sense of urgency?
I was in a very unhealthy relationship, and I feel like my central nervous system was completely shot. I feel like I didn't recognize myself anymore. I felt like I was sick, utterly sick to my stomach. And I knew that if I did not surround myself with Christ and Christ-like people, and if I wasn't going to be receiving the word, I felt genuinely like I was going to die. Like that's what I felt on the inside. That's how sick I was. So I felt like I needed to just be in a space where, because I almost felt like, oh my God, like how did I stray so far? I felt so far away from like my relationship with God at that moment where I was like, this is scaring me. No, got to come back over onto the other side. And so just remember being like, I need to go to church, and I have not stopped going since. Every Sunday, it's like I need that in my spirit.
It's been beautiful to watch that consistency, even because for years, April, you have been like, I love saying this because she just recently started inviting some people to church, right? And what's crazy is for years, she's an influencer, but not just an influencer because she has 3 million followers or whatever, but an influencer in real life where she will really impact people to be able to do certain things. And so for a long time, it was an impact of, hey, come to the club with me, come support what I'm hosting, right? Yeah. The last several months has been like, come to church, come to church. So when she invites people to church, it's like rows of all April's friends. Like to the point where they actually, for the whole row and the behind her, to the point where they actually like awarded her in church. It was like, okay, she's one of the most consistent people of bringing people to church, brought her up on stage and was like, let's be like this lady because she's bringing all these people to church. So I love that so much. That's why I asked about or wanted to mention even about that healing journey aspect, because I have watched you do a lot of these other alternatives of like, I just don't, something is missing. I'm hurt. And this, that most people, a lot of people for sure. And everyone has their own vice or their own thing that they would go to. But this last situation was kind of hard to watch, this last relationship. And I saw you get to the lowest point that I feel like I've seen you. But then I saw you get to the strongest, like best position. And I feel like God does that to us sometimes, where when people call it like, what do they call it? Rock bottom. I'm not saying that you hit rock bottom, but when you're just at that point where you're like,
nowhere else to turn.
Nowhere. I can't do anything else right now except for sit here and just ask God to have mercy, to bring some sense of healing to my heart, because I'm broken, because people hurt me, because I feel betrayed or abandoned or whatever those things are. And as you draw closer and closer to the Lord, he draws closer to you and you get that comfort. And then the great thing about this is that it actually like emulates out of you. Like I can see it glowing, you know, it ain't just your skin, girl. Like it's like, that's your spirit, you know, like the Lord really got you. And I really love that. That's even a real thing for you. But that's, I just want to ask this one question. I know we were talking about like the mediums and the different like psychics and people. Why did you at the time feel like I need to just reach out? Like there are certain different times in your life that what made you go to that?
I think because I was exposed to that through the ex, and it was just a quick fix, I guess is what you would say. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, let me just see what this person is talking about or what they can give to me. Although I knew like, I take that stuff with a grain of salt, I'm gonna be honest. So it was just like wanting to just see what someone had to say to see if like I'm making the right decision and maybe not, because it's like you don't want to really have to face the full truth of what it is and not really wanting to let someone go.
I see.
So I think it was more so that, but yeah.
There's a lot of, like, I think at one point you even had a connection, I don't know what to call it, like some type of a encounter with the spirit realm, like before. A lot of people don't know, and she'd be trying to like pretend that she's not a part of the industry, right? But Paulette, who's not going to tell you, she also has had a whole lot of like your roots to a certain degree in the entertainment industry.
Literally grew up in it.
In the entertainment, right? And so, and she could tell you what girl group she was in, because she ain't trying to talk about all that. But anyway, you know, from all the different things that you did do, I know that your journey too took you to a place where it was only God that saved you. Absolutely. Because you were in that like the darkness, like the pits of it.
1000%. I mean, I don't even know what it is, because she's right. I don't like to talk about it. But growing up in entertainment business, as you know, you're exposed to a lot of stuff very early. Yeah. You're trying to navigate through something you're not supposed to have to navigate through.
And you don't have control over.
Yeah, you really don't. And you're existing in a whole nother world that is completely different than the real world. So it has its own set of rules. Yeah. And you grow up with that. So the things that are not okay, you think are okay. The things that are not normal are normalized in that world. And one thing I can say is thank God for my mom. She was praying for me, because a lot of situations that I was in, a lot of betrayal that I dealt with, a lot of people in the industry that was supposed to be my family and have my back actually was just about what they can get from me.
Absolutely.
And that really led me on a journey of just asking God, who are you? Are you real? And him revealing himself to me. And then that started my healing journey. And I had to say goodbye to a lot of people. And I had to stand on my own a lot.
This is like a thread of letting go. Like when we're talking about healing, we're talking about releasing people. Like that seems very common. I feel like God did this transition for you where you really took very well to it. Like I'm not that type of person. I'm working on it. Oh, God knows I'm working on it to just be able to let things roll off and let it go. But like I'll be the person that's like, the Lord's like, okay, that person's not serving you anymore. And I'll reach all the way back and go and get that person like, hey, just checking on you. Just making sure you good. Like, how are you? And the Lord's like, why are you checking? I pulled them out. You don't got to check anymore. Are they checking on you? You know what I'm saying? And you don't realize that you keep reaching in the past. That's what I love about Wounds in the Way in general, your podcast, because the idea is to, if you're going to reach back, you're reaching back only for the purpose of grabbing the reins, like getting control of those wounds. Peeling back the layers of the things that were hurting you, the traumas, all those things that you've experienced, and then using those to heal from them, right? And be able to actually go into positive, like, or into relationships with a much more positive mentality, being whole, being healed, healthy. So that you can sustain a successful relationship, whether that's with friends or, you know, in a marriage or just a
personal,
period,
work,
with yourself, all of that. So that's, I love the idea of in 2024, everyone sets all these, what do you call them? New Year's resolutions, where you're like, I'm going to do here's my 10 things I'm going to definitely do, you know, whatever that, like, I don't know that we write down healing is going to be one of my resolutions. Right. But knowing that if you have something so amazing that God wants to give you in 2024, but you don't have the capacity to hold it, to get it, to really retain it because you're so hurt and you haven't healed yet from certain things in the past, there's so much that you could miss moving forward. So I'm really proud of you for what you just came out of as far as within your relationship. And I know you share a lot of that on your podcast too. So we'll let you save it. You got off the hook.
Yeah, just be honest about it, right? We just got to be honest about stuff. We got to be honest about what we're going through. We got to be honest about where we are. We got to be honest about where we need to go. So it's just, you know, being honest. It is a process.
The truth will set you free. There really is freedom that comes in being honest and truthful. And I feel like, honestly, April, the truth that you have been willing to share, the vulnerability, we talk a lot about honesty and vulnerability, you choosing to be vulnerable when nobody's asked you, and no one's like forcing you to tell how you feel, what you've gone through, the sadness that you felt, like all those different things. The fact that you're choosing to share those things, I believe there is so much powerful healing in those moments.
At some point, we've got to all stop running. We all ultimately, humans really want love at the end of the day and happiness. And in order to get there, you can't keep running. You've got to stop for a moment and take a pause and really understand that a lot of it is going to hurt. The healing process isn't pretty.
Yeah.
It gets ugly. But the reward on the other side of it is so peaceful.
Amen.
So go through it and know that you're not alone. Be open to speaking with your friends that you trust, or, going to God for comfort. But don't sit in it. Don't allow it to fester inside of you, and stop running would be my advice to any human being out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stop running. Like, that's not that, because I like it because it goes with the tattoo you're about to get. That's so you have to go through it.
Yeah.
Say it again.
The only way out is through.
The only way out is through. And that's so the thought would even be like, run through it. If you're gonna run through
go.
it.
Yeah.
Run through it. Not away from it. Don't run away from the pain.
Yeah.
And you just had showed me something that was, what did it say? What did the tattoo say? Hurt.
Oh,
let it hurt.
Let it hurt.
Let it go. Let it hurt, let it go.
Then
and I was
let it
like,
go.
but why do you have to let it hurt? I don't want you, don't let it hurt. And she was like, no, you need to feel that. Like,
Yes.
that's how you're going to heal.
But that's the process, right? The
Yeah.
fire, the fire, it refines. So it's necessary sometimes to go through that fire in order to come out on the other side refined in a diamond.
That's good.
So-
Yeah.
This is great. Well, I am excited.
Yes.
Just honestly, in 2024, we have a position that we need to start to operate from, a position of power, which starts with healing. And so I just want to encourage all of our viewers, everyone that in the sound of our voice, if you are in a position where you know that there is something that's a wound that you're experiencing or have experienced, a trauma, something that is hindering you from being able to move forward, allow the Lord to be what is going to bring that healing. Because as April mentioned, there are so many other avenues that you can reach out to, whether that's alcohol, different addictions, or we have friends and
that's
people
everything.
that are just going towards things that are temporary. They are not going to be a permanent solution. And that's why I'm so proud of you and so thankful that you have chosen to commit your life and give it right back to the Lord, where you're like, okay, God, I know it's really just me and you. Like, and that's where that true healing started. And that's where, that true healing is going to continue and to progress. So anyway, in 2024, guys, let's do it. I am so thankful that you joined us for HerSide. Let's keep healing.
Let's hear from HerSide. HerSide. When I talk.